fire, fury.
Welcome to Fuel Your Drive. I'm your host, Josh York. I am joined today by two rock stars. Not only two rock stars, but this is these are our first franchise partners. And, you know, obviously it's always very special to me whenever we get to connect because, you know, I'll never forget sitting on that buffet line before I actually met Sam. I'm introduced to his father. Next thing you know, I'm FaceTiming Sam, but I'm joined by Sam Langer and Jimmy Bonavita. They own GYMGUYZ Westchester and Fairfield County in Connecticut. They are incredible, super successful, and these guys understand what it takes to be successful. So before we even get into that, like Sam, I'd love to, you know, go back to that FaceTime call when I was in Mexico in Cabo, and I'm talking to you. And here we are. You know, you were currently working at ESPN. So maybe we could talk a little bit about that story because it's just such a great story.
Well, my dad called me. It was probably the most excited I've been about an opportunity in a very long time. And it was just coming from a place where I was unhappy at my old job. And when I got on the phone with you, I just heard your energy and just felt that this company was going places. It was just honestly, it was a no-brainer. It was, you know, me and Jimmy have always been super passionate about fitness, wanting to start a business, and just hearing what you had to say about the business and what your vision of it was just a selling point for us. I mean, and we know that the future of fitness with all the viruses that are going to keep coming around is that in-home approach. You know, there's going to be a trend, a continued trend to seeing that at-home fitness approach. I think it's already been shown in the past couple of years, and you know, we've been able to benefit from that as well. So yeah, that first initial conversation was just rocket fuel to a ship that's going to keep going to the moon, right?
To the moon, absolutely to the moon. And I'll never forget then, you know, I went out to your house for some training and I got to meet Jimmy. And, you know, Jimmy, so, you know, what was that like? You know, I'm thinking back, my God, actually the vans were still white then. I'll never forget. I made the call and I was like, we're changing the vans to red. And you're like, what do you mean we're changing the vans to red? But Jimmy, what was that like that first time we had that interaction? Because it was great. And I just, you know, the energy you guys gave off and the passion and just, you know, the brains, you guys were just driven, smart guys, which got me fired up. But what was that first interaction for you, Jimmy?
Yeah, I mean, meeting you, we're obviously all like-minded. You know, we love what we do. And I think it just gave us an opportunity to get into a field that Sam and I both wanted to get into. And the box gym just didn't make sense for us from a financial standpoint on a month-to-month, having that rent over our heads. And when you came with the model and gave us that ability to, you know, go to clients, go to corporate offices and all that, it was just a no-brainer for us. And, you know, the excitement was through the roof as, you know, as Sam expressed. So it was awesome.
That's great. That's great. Now, you know, something I always think about is how far we've come. And obviously, you know, look, Sam and Jimmy have been here from the beginning. So guys, you know, just to be very clear, because I know a lot of people take this perception that, you know, the company we are today, we were back then, and we were not that company. Like there was lots of problems and challenges, and Sam and Jimmy have been through it all. And, you know, they've always been, you know, by our side here. And obviously that means the world to me and the world to the team. But let's talk about that, because that was great. Like, how far have we come as a franchise organization, and, you know, been able to obviously support you guys and help you guys drive your business, and, you know, for obviously future franchise partners that are coming into the system.
Well, I think you can even start it with, it goes to show that I think when we first met, we met in like a hotel conference room in the middle of Paramus, New Jersey. So, I mean,
during a snowstorm, typically it would have took like an hour. It took me like 3.5 hours to get there. And I'll never forget, like, because I went with one of my consultants at the time, and he's like, "Are we going?" I was like, "Yeah, we're going. Absolutely, we're going."
Oh. Where you go. When you're excited about an opportunity, you just go for it, right? So
absolutely.
No, I remember that, and I remember just being able to see that. And you know, you only had a couple of people working for you at the time, and you know, there was some support, obviously, being that you're a franchise system. But to see how it's evolved today, I mean, look at the building that we're in today. Look at our world headquarters today, and all the support that our team gets. And we're able to. It's amazing. It's incredible to see how I'm going to say we, because I feel like we've helped out with it. How we've built this business where, you know, we're able to all use each other to grow, and we all use each other as a support system, which is a really important part, because in the beginning there was no one. It was just you, and it was, you know, me and Jimmy. So now that we have all these locations and everyone throws ideas off each other and is able to communicate with each other. I know Jimmy just got off a call last week with our franchise partners out in California. So just to be able to bounce ideas off each other is a really big piece of it. And then on the corporate side of it, that help that we get now. And, we had a 2-hour marketing call with Phil yesterday and Todd to really help us understand how our search engine optimization is functioning and where we can make improvements and the little tweaks that we can make in that process too. So all things we didn't really have too much of in the beginning. It was a little bit more guerrilla style marketing, but now with everything that we have in place, it's just been really helpful. And you can see that transition over the years in a very beneficial way.
Absolutely. And, I have to, before I go to Jimmy, like how impressive was that with what they put together? Because when I see what they do, it's like so impressive.
Yeah. That stuff to me is a different language, but when they break it down for you and they let you understand what these numbers are and why they're important and how we can fix them to make them where we want them is obviously a really important thing to understand. So, they do a good job. Phil and Todd did a really good job of breaking that down for us and saying, this is where we need to be. This is how we get there. It's a very important thing to have, but it's good to know.
Really pointed out our weak points that we need to kind of go back on and just kind of make a couple adjustments. But it was, it's something we didn't have in the past. To be able to know, where we're lacking on the digital side is huge. And I think that's the biggest growth component is the digital side. We'll obviously put the work in on the ground, but we're able to kind of, rely on the digital side is huge.
Absolutely. Now, quick question, because I'm loving this so much that I'm kind of changing directions here. Do you guys have like another 25 minutes? Because I want to turn this actually into a podcast episode. So I like to keep it raw and real. We're not editing this, but guys, just so you know, well, first, do you have 25 more minutes to kind of go through some more information here or no?
Give us what you got, Josh.
Okay. All right. So don't chop this out, guys. We like it raw and real. But so now, when you guys started the business, right? Again, our first franchise partners, when you started, you had to obviously be nervous, regardless, of anything. Like people don't understand. And I tell people this all the time, like fear and that anxiety is like the greatest indicator to just do it. Now, obviously you had belief in the vision and you love my energy and all that, but like at the end of the day, what kept you guys going? Because you are super successful and we're going to dive into that a lot more. And just keep in mind, guys, and I'm not going to, steal the thunder here. I want Sam and Jimmy to talk about their relationship because it's also really special. These guys have known each other forever, which is also really unique and special. And, anyone who would get to experience the type of relationship these guys have is incredible because they've been friends forever. But let's go through a little bit of when you started the business, your nerves and the relationship you guys had and why you came into it. And really what's taking you to the level you're at. Cause like, when I see those numbers, like the first thing I said was, Sam, you guys had a hell of a day yesterday. It makes me so proud. And I know it's got to make you proud, but like you guys are doing incredible things. And at the same time, you're helping so many people. So let's touch on that a little bit.
So me and Jimmy have obviously known each other since he was beating me up on the playground in elementary school. But we've known each other. We've known each other. Our families are close as well. Our siblings are friends with each other as well. So we've known each other forever. And now Jimmy being my brother-in-law, actually. So
tell everyone that again because it's the craziest thing ever, guys. Listen to what Sam just said. Tell him again, Sammy. Tell him again.
Jimmy and I are now brother-in-laws. We decided it was necessary to marry sisters. We love those girls. So now we get to see each other pretty much 24/7. We see each other at family events. So we're always around each other, which is beneficial because we're always bouncing ideas off each other and, talking about business and talking about work. So, we know how to balance it out, but at the same time, it's beneficial because if we ever need to talk about something, we're very easily accessible. But again, this is just something we always wanted to do. We always talked about opening a business. My dad owned a bunch of businesses. Jimmy's dad was very high up in sales. So there's elements that each of us brought to the table that helped us be successful and where we are today. But I think when we started the business, those nerves that we felt were those nerves where, your back's up against the wall and there's nowhere to go but forward. So, that was the most important part. I gave up a very good job with a very good salary to do this and pretty much say, I'm going to be going from making X to making $0 right from the spot. So, we didn't really have much of a choice. And then, after a year or so, when we started becoming really, really successful, me and Jimmy had a conversation. I said, Jim, we need you. We need you here full time, man. So, Jimmy came over full time as well. He was still working on his job in sales. But once he came over, that's when the business really started to blossom as well, even more. Because now there's two of us working at it and two of us growing the business. And honestly, there was just no looking back from when we started. It was just either forward or that was it. I mean, if we failed, we're letting each other down. So there's an element of, we're not going to let that happen. So, and even today, it's the same thing. If the business fails, we're letting each other down. So, it's just something that would never happen. And, it's pretty much all eyes forward. It's never been looking back since then.
That's great. And Jimmy, let's pass it over to you because I know you were very successful in the sales space in the wine industry. And, you gave that all up. But I want you guys to listen what these guys are talking about here because no risk, no reward, like that's legit. And you have to go all in. And I talk about this all the time. It's very, very simple. You just don't quit. That's it. Like it's not rocket science, but Jimmy, you took a huge risk as well. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So I think the main piece is, I took the risk in the sense as you surround yourself with successful, smart people. And I knew Sam, obviously from a friendship standpoint, I trusted him, but the main piece was I knew he had the finance background. I knew he had the sense of the numbers that we needed to kind of run the back of the house things. And then I could bring the sales component, the person-to-person component into the business. So I always say it, I know it's cliche, but we're the yin and yang in that sense, where together we're a powerhouse. So that's really where I trusted that. And then, it all kind of just fell into place. And then we built a team around us that supports us every day, obviously. Coming over from a sales background, I gave up a 6-figure job. I bought a territory within 3 months. I was doing over $1 million in sales. So, it was an easy thing for me to do. And it was the same concepts, just a different, brand of what I was selling. I just really think it's all about just surrounding yourself with like-minded people, successful people. And, Sam was, obviously that person. So.
That's great. And I want you to listen to what Jimmy and Sam both are talking about here. Like they both understand and know their strengths and they know their weaknesses. So they're able to delegate and let one person focus on what they're strong at, the other person focus on the other thing. And that's a key to any type of relationship or partnership. But you have to also be open-minded and understand these things because sometimes people think that they can do everything and you can't. And another thing they said that was super important is they built a great team. And let me tell you, their retention for their team is incredible, just like it is for their clients. But that says a lot for them, right? So how do you guys keep great retention? I see the reviews. You guys get the most incredible reviews. You have the most loyal clients and your team members love you. And you just hired another great individual. Well, you promoted another great individual.
Yeah.
Let's give him a shout out because he's a rock star. He's doing great things. And, you guys are leading by example and that's what it's all about, but, I remember, and I'm not saying this, in any type of negative way, Sam, but I remember when I met Sam, he was a very shy guy. He was quiet. He's like, I don't know if I could do this. And he really pushed himself and like he's developed into such a savvy entrepreneur. He's just great as is Jimmy. But let's touch on a little bit of that because you guys have had, such great success with your team and building your team and leadership, which is also very important in business. So let's talk about that.
Well, I'd like to give you two actually credit for pulling me out of my shell because without that, I don't think I would have been able to do it. You guys have these personalities where once you watch someone do something, you learn from them. And that's an important piece of it, learning. So knowing that, you're not, no matter how successful you are, you can always learn from other people. And I think that, just watching you guys and watching how you interact has really gone a long way with helping me out as well. It's, I'm never, I'll never turn away from learning. So that's an important piece of it. And then in terms of our trainers and our retention rate, a lot of that comes from the relationships that we've built with them. We treat them how we would expect to be treated. You hear these horror stories of people and even our friends, like on how they get treated by their bosses and how their bosses talk to them. We try to treat every employee as if, not that they're doing us a favor, but that they can leave at any point. And they're valuable to us and they're valuable to our clients. So really making sure that our relationship with them is fully transparent. So we tell them, if there's an issue, if you feel like you're working too many hours, if you feel like you're not working enough hours, if you don't like something about your job, like let us know so that we can make the adjustment to it. And a lot of people do. And Vinny, who we had just promoted to our pretty much our territory manager, our head of personal training, would tell us the same thing. And it makes us feel good. He'd tell us he's worked for a lot of people before, and he's never worked for people like us who really give him an opportunity to explore his growths or his positive attributes and what he's good at. And we let him do that, and we let him kind of, free it, where he can do what he thinks is important and what he feels is necessary to help our business grow. So giving people, just honestly maintaining those relationships. We call them on their birthday. We try to do right by them at the end of the year. Anything they need. If there's, something that happens in the family, we're sending food. We're really going that extra mile, that we care, because we do. Because without them, we're just two individuals. So, without our team, we can't grow to where we're at right now. There's no way two people can do it. So we understand that. We understand how important it is to maintain good relationships, not only with your clients, but with your staff as well.
I think we take pride in the sense of, we always express to our staff is we're looking for communication, so open communication. I think that's our number one thing with our staff. And then, obviously allowing them to be creative. But our communication obviously is a big component of keeping people for a long term, because we're constantly changing, what they need. I know things change in people's lives. So, when they need something, we try to step up as best as we can. And I think I've heard you say it before. If you give somebody a Ferrari, you would. So we try to give as much as we possibly can to people, likewise. So one hand washes the other in that instance. So
there's so many nuggets in here. Like, I hope people are listening to this are taking notes. And like I said, I started this off as I was just going to be doing these quick clips that we're putting on social media, because we've been trying to do a podcast forever on Fuel Your Drive. And I'm so happy Sam and Jimmy are here to kind of, give you guys this information. But what does the future look like for you guys? Because obviously you guys are visionaries. You have big visions. I have visions. And obviously my visions include you in those visions as well. But where do you see both you guys developing and going? Because, you've already mastered this, one of the hardest skills in the world of how to, create a successful business, build a great team, and now you have successful families. Like, you guys are doing great things, but where do you see your future going?
go for it.
Ahead. No, go ahead. Go.
Yeah, obviously we still have a lot of work to do. We have a big territory with Westchester and Fairfield. We want to continue to grow our team, grow our client base, and we want to improve. We want to improve our service. I think you can, no matter how good it is, there's a lot of different weak points that we have that we are currently making changes on. And that's what putting, Vinny in place, our manager, and making those changes. And I think also putting him into place is also pushing us, because we were comfortable, and he's out of our comfort zone, and saying, why aren't we doing, why did you guys stop doing this? And it's kind of like you scratch your head and you say, wow, he's right. We stopped doing that. We got, you're almost, again, you're comfortable, and putting him in place really pushed us. And it still is. I mean, I got off the phone. We had a call last week, and I said to Sam, I was like, he kind of made me almost like nervous, or like he gave me like this, like I wasn't doing enough feel, which was a good thing, but it just was exciting. So yeah.
That's great. Sam?
Yeah, just to touch on what Jimmy said, I mean, where do we see this thing going on? I mean, we obviously want to help the corporate office grow this thing to as big as it can sustain. But from a personal standpoint, as you said, we have Westchester and Fairfield County. We're hoping to possibly keep expanding our territories, right? I mean, we opened one. We were very successful with our Westchester location. We decided to open Fairfield County as well, and it's been a great success as well. So, if we keep having success opening these franchises, we don't see why we wouldn't keep opening them and expanding our base and growing our whole network of clients and trainers and whatnot. But we're hoping at some point we can help out on that corporate side as well and use some of our knowledge to help grow the business that way as well.
Wow.
Josh, can I touch on one thing that just kind of came to me? But going back to the beginning here, I know it's kind of all over the place, but we were 20 something years old, like fresh out of college. I mean, we worked our jobs for maybe a year or two max. So we had no knowledge of like how to manage people, how to run a business. We learned everything kind of on the go. Obviously we had you as a mentor, and we had Sam's dad as a mentor as well. But, it was kind of one of those things where, we just, like you said, we just kind of had our backs against the wall. We learned as we went. And over the 10 years, we've gained so much knowledge about ourselves, about our business, stuff that's extremely valuable. But we had no prior knowledge to even the fitness industry in a sense. We worked out, but we didn't have that knowledge that we needed. And look how successful we are because we took a chance. We believed in something. We saw the vision that you always put in front of us and that you continue to put in front of us. So.
Yeah. Well, listen, first of all, 100%. I see you guys obviously in the big picture helping us out. That's 100%. For number two, I want people to understand this because, yes, Sam and Jimmy were our first franchise partners, but as exciting that was to be like, wow, we're going to bring on our first franchise partners. I just want you to understand, we don't sell franchises. I know a lot of people who are listening to the podcast, ask questions, they're interested in franchising. And normally I most likely wouldn't sell to an experienced, early teenager that age. The reason I was so behind Sam and Jimmy was their drive. They had such drive, and I just knew in my body and soul throughout my bones that they would not quit. They were super smart, savvy, and they had the goods. And after now doing this for 15 years, it's very easy to pick that out and know who's going to do great and who's not. And that's very important because look, I talk about this too. Just because you're in business, and even because you buy in a franchise business, it does not mean you're going to succeed. You have to still drive the business. You still have to, be consistent with it every single day, and you got to build a great team. And not everybody can do that. But this is just like nuggets just dropping out of the sky here from Sam and Jimmy, and it's super appreciated. And I know the listeners are going to really, really enjoy this. But last, before we kind of finish off here, what is some advice you guys can give to someone? Because most of our listeners are younger. They're looking to get into business. I don't know if they want to own a GYMGUYZ franchise or they want to go into another franchise or they want to do something on their own. But what is advice that you would give to them starting out? Sam, I'll let you go first.
In my opinion, there's no right answer to some problems. Some answers are pick a solution, go with the solution, and believe in it. So there's going to be times where you're going to come up to an issue and you're not going to know what to do. And sometimes, like I said, there is no right answer, but you have to make a decision, go with that decision, and trust in it. So even just like with hiring people, you gotta, you're doing all your vetting. You don't know if it's going to be a good decision. We've had people that we thought were going to be great and turned out to be not so great. And we've had people that, even recently that we hired that me and Jim were kind of like a little 50-50 on. And within the first month, we were like, oh my God, these are probably a couple of the best trainers we've ever hired. So, it's just kind of going with that instinct. Advice starting out, it's really just trusting yourself and you really just have to work. There's a lot of people that join businesses that buy franchisees and just expect stuff to just happen, especially in the franchise system, right? I mean, you probably see a lot of people, you hear a lot of horror stories of people opening franchises and just expecting their pockets to fill with money, but that's not how it works. You have to, like me and Jimmy have done from the beginning, put your back against the wall and just march forward, and do it with everything you have in you. That's really what we did. That's how we've been able to be successful. Like Jimmy mentioned before, it's a lot of learning on the go. There's stuff we've done before. We've never hired people before we started this. We had no idea what that process looked like. You watch videos, you learn from, we've been in interviews, but when you're sitting on the other side of the table, it's a totally different atmosphere. So, learning, taking every bit of experience and just learning from people is a really important part of getting started in a business, especially when you don't have experience in any aspect of it. So, I just think a piece of advice is just listening to people, watching people, and taking every bit of feedback and advice you can get and using that to your advantage.
That's so spot on, Jimmy. I pass it over to you, Jimmy.
So I think the main thing is, especially in the sense of maybe starting your own business, being an entrepreneur, I always express it to youth because we see a lot of things on social media where someone looks like a superstar or a millionaire overnight, right? And it's not the way it works. You need to build financial stability first. You might need to work a job that you might not love, but you know what? You build that financial stability. And then as that job's going on, you take the different pieces you're learning from management, from other workers, the good, the bad. And then you have your plan set up to say, okay, I want to open up a GYMGUYZ, or I want to go into a different franchising or some other business, but you can build that financial stability, learn things on the way, and then go into your business and then give, all you got to it. You know, but that's basically it. How me and Sam we were fortunate enough to be able to, you know, work and then fund our business in that sense. But you know, I see a lot of young kids and you know, guys and gals that have these dreams. They think they can just do it. But you know, you need to build that financial stability, and then you can do, you know, kind of whatever you want. And our model I think is awesome because it doesn't cost much to get in. You don't need to be, you know, 40, 50 years old to have a, you know, established career and funds to get in. So that's where, you know, I think you got to go with your passion and work hard. I mean, it's simple. I think you can talk to a lot of people, listen to a lot of people, but it's just hard work. That's really what it comes down to.
So true. So true, Jimmy. So true. Well, listen, you know, this is absolutely incredible. You know, I love you guys so much. I mean that, and I appreciate you guys, and I'm so happy you guys are part of this and, you know, by our side, because, you know, honestly, you guys are the reason, you know, like you and all of our other franchise partners, but, you know, you guys specifically, you're number one, and you are the reason we are where we are today, because, you know, it's not easy to do what we've done. And, you know, I credit a lot to you guys as well. So I just want to thank you both. And I know I tell you this offline, but I'm telling you online too, so it's out there. But, you know, this is a great episode. Everyone's going to enjoy this. I am super excited for this to launch, and thank you guys so much. If you guys want to, you know, if anyone wants to follow you guys personally or social media, maybe let them know where they can follow you guys. Sam.
Yeah. Where's the our Instagram is the GYMGUYZ Westchester Instagram. We've been posting a lot of workouts. You can come follow us. You can come follow along with some motivation. But GYMGUYZ Westchester is what you type in, and you can follow it on Instagram, Facebook. I think we have TikTok as well. Jim, are you? Do we have the TikTok as well going?
Yeah, TikTok's rolling. But yeah, we're GYMGUYZ.
Yeah.
It's GYMGUYZ _Westchester, GYMGUYZ _Fairfield County. You know, we post videos, we do some personal stuff, and then we have our corporate support as well. So you'll see from all different territories throughout the country, and so some pretty cool stuff on there you guys can check out.
Absolutely. And these guys have the same problem I have. If you go on Google and type in handsome, they also come up on page 1. Go figure, right? But they also come up at the top too. So guys, listen, thank you again so much. This is an incredible episode. Super exciting, guys. Follow them, reach out to them. I know you learned a lot from this, and guys, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Legend. Do you know my name? My name is Legend.